Hello everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Violeta Colmán. I'm a lawyer, public policy specialist, and a member of the Consultorio Jurídico Feminista, a civil society organization from Paraguay, which translates to Feminist Legal Clinic in English. The Consultorio offers free legal advice to women seeking justice. Our organization was founded in 2017 as a volunteer network of law and social science professionals and students. We offer innovative legal guidance that prioritizes women's demands and needs from a feminist and intersectional perspective. This is particularly important because women face barriers to accessing fair and secure justice due to the structure of the judicial system and gender-based discrimination. While most of the cases we receive involve gender-based violence, the scope of our services includes a variety of issues related to different areas of the law, such as labor or family law. Now, let's discuss our data collection and methodology. We mainly receive inquiries via WhatsApp and phone calls, and we systematize these cases using a free platform called Kobo Toolbox. Beyond just recording the interactions, we use this data to engage with public institutions and establish partnerships with like-minded organizations. Today, I will present some of the findings that stem from analyzing over 1,100 documented interactions over 6 years. Additionally, I will share qualitative information from our reports on the impact of the pandemic and also about the structural barriers that women encounter when navigating the justice system. It will also be essential to discuss the limitations of our systematization and findings, considering that all our work was undertaken thanks to a team of committed volunteers. We collected information from a subset of approximately 30% of the individuals who reach out to us. This is highly valuable as it helps us better understand the people accessing our services. We learned that the median age of women seeking assistance is 23. And the data on marital status shows that they are in a range that includes being married, in a relationship, single, or separated. However, when combining these groups, we observed that 70% reported being in a relationship. And nearly 75% of the cases come from the capital, Asunción, and its metropolitan area. But when we visualize the geo-reference contact points on a map, we discovered that our services are helpful for women across the entire national territory and even neighboring countries. So far, this only represents the demographic information about a subset of the population that contacts us. Now let's get to the core of our analysis. We started offering our service and processing data in 2017. Throughout our first years, we received a steady number of calls that increased mainly in March because of International Women's Day and November, dedicated to eradicating gender-based violence. In March of 2020, we saw a jump in calls. This was directly linked with the strict stay-at-home and curfew restrictions in Paraguay because of COVID-19. This trend continued for a year and slowed down in the following months when restrictions of movement were lifted and vaccine rollout started. We also see a gap in our data collection for a chunk of 2022. I decided to show this to address a frequent limitation that grassroots organizations encounter, and that is a lack of resources and limited funding. Volunteer work is meaningful and is necessary for society, but it also means we will be taking extra shifts on top of our daily jobs. And as Latin American feminists have framed it so well, what people call law is unpaid labor. For us, this meant unavailable resources to keep track of cases for several months, although we continued offering our legal counseling services regularly. Still, the available data that we had showed that most of the 700 and 64 cases received between March 2020 and December 2021 corresponded to domestic violence, followed by inquiries about child support and custody. And lastly, out of the total cases, we saw that 90% of the time, women reach out to us once, and only at 10% of the time, more than once, either to provide updates on their cases or with new questions based on the advice they were given. From the received cases and the experience of our team, we also use qualitative methods and observed a recurring pattern of obstacles that prevent women from accessing justice. During the pandemic, justice officers refused to take reports of domestic violence unless the situation was severe. Many women were wrongly directed to take further steps before the reports were admitted at the local courts, which is unnecessary and contrary to procedural laws. Sometimes officials avoided giving restraining orders to keep abusers away due to pandemic-related housing constraints. These practices made it hard for women to get help and protect their lives, and lockdowns worsened this by forcing them to remain with their abusers. Now that services are available in person, the current crowded condition in courts pose another challenge to protect complainants during their statements. The limited infrastructure doesn't ensure a safe and confidential environment. Reports are often filed in shared spaces where other general services are being provided. Furthermore, local courts lack specialized teams to support victims during legal proceedings. Finally, in cases of violence, women often face disbelief from justice officials when they report incidents. The process is fraught with indifferent or dismissive attitudes, valid judgment from officials, unclear and occasionally incorrect guidance on the next steps, and a constant re-victimization of the women involved. In conclusion, feminist data analysis sheds light on critical access to justice issues women face. Through meticulous examination, feminist organizations such as mine unveil systemic obstacles that hinder women's equitable access to the judicial system. This analysis unearthed patterns of gender-based discrimination and barriers stemming from sociocultural norms. Additionally, an intersectional lens exposes marginalized groups' challenges when seeking justice. By dissecting this data, we, as feminist advocates, not only underscore the urgent need for legal reforms, but also pave the way for strategic interventions, policy advocacy, and collaborative efforts with legal institutions to rectify these injustices, foster inclusivity, and ensure that all women can assert their rights within the judicial landscape. As we say it in Spanish, ¿la justicia será feminista o no será? Thank you.